think of the last time someone surprised you with kindness? Maybe they held the door when your hands were full, or maybe they listened to you when you really needed it. Small moments like that stick with us, right? Now flip the question. When was the last time you were kind to yourself? Now most of us pause here because we're taught to treat others kindly, but when it comes to ourselves, we're often harsh, critical, and unforgiving. And that's the heart of my idea today. Kindness isn't just something you give outward or inward. It's a circle filled by a tension between kindness to yourself and kindness to others. One side fuels the other, and if the circle breaks, both sides are affected. Of course, kindness to others matters. We all know that, right? It builds trust, deepens empathy, and it spreads. One kind act doesn't stop with the person who receives it. It actually ripples outward. But here's the fascinating part. In an article published by the Scarborough Psychology Clinic, Dr. Biswas explains that engaging in acts of kindness triggers the brain's reward system, which releases chemicals that enhance positive feelings and make us more likely to repeat such behaviors. This process is often referred to as the helper's high because it creates a sense of well-being for both giver and receiver. So kindness isn't just nice manners. It wires our brains to continue the cycle. But here's the problem. If you don't keep some of that kindness for yourself, the circle breaks. Think about the voice in your head most of the time. Would you ever speak to a friend that way? Probably not. And yet, so often, we tear ourselves down by saying negative things to ourselves without even realizing it. For example, almost all of my friends sometimes say things like, "I'm so stupid," and not in a serious way, but just as a way of brushing off a mistake, like saying, "Of course I know better than that, right?" But the thing is, a part of your mind, the subconscious mind, doesn't know it's a joke. It grabs onto the words and treats them like truth. And neuroscience explains why this is so damaging. The British Journal of Psychiatry indicates that self-criticism activates the amygdala, the brain's alarm system. And that's the same region that fires when you're under threat. So when you talk to yourself in a bad way, your brain reacts as if you are the enemy. But when we practice self-kindness, something else happens. According to an article published by Holy Family University in 2024, self-compassion enhances the activation of the prefrontal cortex, which is associated with decision-making and self-regulation. This increased activity in that part of the brain improves cognitive flexibility, helping individuals redirect self-critical thoughts and better cope with failures, ultimately boosting self-esteem. And here's the key. Being kind to yourself doesn't take away from others. It fuels your ability to care for them. Think of it in this way. If you never charge your phone, eventually the battery dies, right? But unlike a phone, you can't buy a new you because you are the battery, and self-kindness is the charger. Without it, you can't keep going. And this brings us back to the circle. Neuroscience shows that when we practice kindness, whether towards others or towards ourselves, our brains activate many of the same systems that release feel-good chemicals like oxytocin and endorphins, something Dr. Biswas' research also highlights. In other words, every act of self-kindness reinforces nearly the same pathways that help us be kind outward. So when you quiet that harsh inner critic, when you rest and move your body, you're feeding the circle. And that makes you have more patience, more empathy, and more love to share. So we'll quickly do an exercise. I would like every single one of you to think about something that you did today that you're proud of. It can be something small, like not snoozing your alarm clock this morning, or maybe just finishing a task that you've been putting off for days. Now hold on to that thought. Think of how that little thing makes you feel, that little spark of pride. Wouldn't it be amazing if you spoke to yourself that way more often? If you gave yourself that same tone of kindness every single day? The truth is, you can. It just takes awareness and practice. But you already did it tonight, which means you can do it again tomorrow and the next day. And that's what the world needs the most. People who lead with self-kindness and not self-criticism. People whose kindness begins inside so it can radiate outward. So as you leave tonight, remember the circle. Be kind to others, yes, but also remember to be kind to yourself because you deserve it. And that's very important because when kindness starts within, it never stops at the edge of you. Thank you very much.